All right, good morning everyone and happy Friday. We hope you had a great work week today. I'm meteorologist Jordan Derensberg, and let's get into the details about today's severe weather threat. But before we get to that, we really need to go ahead and break down yesterday's confirmed tornado in northeastern Burnett County. So let's go ahead, let's take it to the wall, and I am going to show you the timeline. It's between 4 and 7 p.m. of when that tornado touched down just to the west of Ocala and then had a near touchdown just north of Highway 183 near the Briggs area as well. And here it is. By the time we get to 4 o'clock, there's that classic hook echo that showed up on our radars. But then it had another near touchdown right about here, getting close to that Briggs area where you had that second TDS signature that showed up on our particular radar. And there was even the correlation coefficient that showed the potential that there might have been some debris being lofted into the air. Now, a thing you want to know is that there was a second cell that passed just through the Mahomet area, right there just to the south of Briggs. And what that allowed for was that for that system to eventually weaken, because that cell cut off a lot of the warm, moist air out ahead of it, so that storm couldn't really continue on into places like Liberty Hill, maybe even the Leander area. So the saving graces for Liberty Hill and Leander was that cell that passed through the Mahomet area that kind of prevented a potential tornado from making its way along 183 into western sections of Williamson County. Now let's take a look outside. This is a live look from our Kalahari Resorts and Conventions weather camera, and it is perfectly sunny outside right now. And this is not one of the days where you want a perfectly sunny sky. Let's go ahead and let's get that straight. And that is because the sunshine and the peak daytime heating can add instability to the atmosphere, and that can destabilize the atmosphere, and that could cause storms to really fire up through the afternoon hours. As you can see, sunny skies here in town as well as Georgetown and Burnett. LaGrange still cloudy, and that's good news for you guys out in Fayette County, but upper 60s and lower 70s area wide. Now, as we take a look at your satellite and radar, we are looking mostly clear as well. That's as of right now. Obviously, that is likely going to change as we head through the afternoon hours, especially when we are tracking a 3 out of 5 enhanced risk for severe weather for the entirety of the KVU viewing area, with the exception of northwestern sections of Mason County. So everyone in the KVU area has an enhanced risk, and the hail parameter, I really want you to pay attention very closely here, because we have a 30% chance of hail within a given storm. And not only that, these striped lines represent what's known as the hatched area for significant hail. And that means that 2 inches of hail in diameter or greater are possible. So we're talking golf ball size, maybe even baseball size hail. There were even some radar estimates yesterday in Burnett County, in and around Lake Buchanan near Llano County as well. Those areas had radar estimations getting close to grapefruit size hail. So that is very large hail, and that can really cause damage to your vehicles or any of your your windows on the side of your house. So let's go ahead and let's time everything out for you. This is at around the noon hour. Could have a few pop-up showers hanging around, and with mostly cloudy skies in place, that's going to limit some of that instability. So there's good news on that front if that were to hold. But by the time we get to your Friday afternoon, this is between 3 and midnight. That's when our weather impact alert period is. And this particular model does have these storms right on top of us here in Austin. And we could have a bit of a wind threat based on the orientation of those storms. If they're in more of a straight line, we're thinking more of a wind threat. But if we've got some discrete cells, we could be looking at a hail threat, maybe even an isolated tornado threat. So the orientation of these strong storms is something we're going to watch too. If it's in a straight line, we're thinking mostly a damaging wind threat, maybe a brief spin-up tornado. But discrete cells, those are the big hail producers, and those are the potential that can drop a tornado as well. This particular model at around 4 o'clock does have the Austin Metro and points to the south along I-35, including San Marcos Bobcat Country, and then areas just off to the north of San Antonio being involved at this time. But really, anyone in Central Texas is fair game for this. By the time we get to around 8, 9 o'clock, things do start to slowly simmer down. We did put from 3 to midnight just to be safe, but pretty much during the latter hours of the evening, heading into the overnight hours, we should start to clear out just a little bit. Eventually, what's going to happen is that front is going to make its way through, and when it does, we're going to have lows getting down to those upper 50s in some spots. And by the time we get to 10 a.m., getting close to the upper 60s with winds coming out of the northeast. So here's your breakdown of severe weather. We're looking at damaging wind. Hail is the one I'm really watching, with localized flooding also possible with some of the heavy rainfall. And I'm going to show you why in a moment. But we're not going to rule out the isolated possibility of a tornado, especially given what happened in Burnett County. So 3 p.m. to midnight on Friday, that's our weather impact alert period with large hail. Really all modes of severe weather are possible. The least likely is a tornado, but it is not zero as we saw in Burnett County yesterday. And a reminder that yes, a threat may be very, very low, but that does not make it zero. Perfect example of that was in northeastern Burnett County. Flooding definitely possible. So something you really want to make sure that you have down. Make sure you have alerts. We're going to be right here on KVUE.com and or KVUE Plus, depending on where you're watching. If you don't have KVUE Plus yet and you're watching us on KVUE.com, it's free on your Fire Stick, Apple TV, or Roku. So make sure you download the KVUE Plus app, because we're going to have live coverage later on this afternoon with our Chief Meteorologist, Hunter Williams. He is going to be in here tracking the storms as they happen throughout the course of the afternoon and evening. Another important thing, and this is especially true with hail, you want to make sure your cars are protected. So make sure if you have a garage or a carport or something of that nature, you want to make sure your cars are brought into those. If you do not have a garage or carport, or if you have a vehicle that's too large for it, you want to make sure it is properly covered up, maybe like cardboard, maybe have cardboard taped to it. You also want to make sure you have a blanket or something on top of that. Make sure it is fortified and all glass objects are protected from any hail that may fall from the sky as a result of this. Now, rainfall, we're going to talk about flooding real quick, because we're looking at around 1.5 inches, maybe even 1.75 inches to around 2.5 inches. Some areas isolated could get up to 3 inches of rain in some spots. And that means your flood threat is a 2 out of 4 for excessive rainfall for today. So localized flooding, again, is possible in addition to the hail threat that we have and even the damaging wind threat. Quick look at your allergens. Grass is in the low, ash is in the low, mulberry and hickory are both low, as well as mold being in the medium count. You can find that allergy count each and every day on KVUE.com and the KVUE app. As for this weekend, everything should simmer down on Saturday, and we should be dry for Saturday and Sunday. So good weekend to get out and enjoy your weekend. But by the time we get into the middle portion of next week, active pattern does resume, and we could have even more good beneficial rainfall associated with it. That is still 4 to 7 days out, and there's a lot that needs to be determined between now and then. But by and large, we really want you to focus on today and today's storm threat. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to pull the storm outlook back up, and I will put myself in boxes real quick while we answer your questions. So let's see. Trey, my pleasure. Calais Shane is betting $100 this isn't going to happen. We're looking at widespread impacts, Calais. So, I mean, I don't know if that's a good bet, really. But again, you want to make sure that you are prepared whether it happens or not. I would prefer it not to happen, but still, if it does happen, I want to make sure that you're prepared. Robin says the one time it happens, you'll remember it forever, and that is so true. And with that, we're going to harken back to September 2023, especially with this hail threat with Round Rock and that very large hail core that passed through Round Rock and all of the hail damage associated with that storm in Round Rock. Georgetown, it's possible. To answer your question, Hamina, Thorndale, Chad, it's a pretty large, it's an elevated threat for hail, for sure. time frame is looking between 3 and midnight. And Andrew for Fayette County looking at around, again, it's widespread. So everywhere in Central Texas, no matter what town you're in, we're thinking a time frame between 3 and midnight because this is going to be widespread throughout Central Texas this evening. Christopher Castañeda asking about further south compared to yesterday. Well, a lot of the model data is showing, a lot of the model data does have it coming in, but there's other model data that do have it to our south. But at the same time, we cannot let our guards down. This is the highest storm chance of the active pattern that we've had. So let's prepare as if we are expecting severe weather. It's not going to be a total washout today. Let's go ahead and mention that. In fact, we're seeing mostly sunny skies through most of the region. It's not good news, though, because it will destabilize the atmosphere and can really fuel up a lot of these storms that could be very hefty hail producers, as well as that could produce an isolated tornado, or depending on the orientation, some straight line damaging winds. So there's a lot that has to be something to watch. North Wilco, it doesn't matter where you are. North Wilco, Fayette County, Burnett County, Gillespie County, Thorndale, Pflugerville, Dripping Springs. Timing's the same, 3 to midnight. It's going to be widespread, and we could have hail, damaging winds, heavy rainfall, and maybe even a brief spin-up tornado as well. So it does not matter where you live in the KV viewing area. Prepare for 3 to midnight, possibility of strong storms for your area, because we're looking at potentially widespread storms that are going to pop up, and some may be more severe than others, but still you want to keep it here to KV. We're going to have all the latest on this. Main air, same thing. The most dangerous period, Jennifer O'Neill, I said 3 to midnight, but also it's looking right now around 4:30, maybe to 6 o'clock is where we're going to really be watching, and maybe even to 7 o'clock. So 4 to 7 could be the period we really watch. The weather impact period is from 3 to midnight, but 4 to 7 is that peak daytime heating. So that's going to be the main time frame that we are going to watch very, very closely. Absolutely a good, hopefully we don't have any really major issues, but again, we want you to stay prepared. We want you to stay weather aware throughout the course of the day. So again, I'm going to go ahead and put our boxes back up here for tonight. And we do have that storm outlook. It is a 3 out of 5 enhanced risk for severe weather. And as we look at that hail parameter one more time, we have literally everybody in the KV viewing area. And I'm going to stress this, and this is going to be very important. I'm going to take myself full for this. We're not here to scare you, okay? We are not here to scare you. We are here to keep you informed. We are here to keep you prepared. We are here to keep you safe. It's just the fact of the matter is the hail potential has the hatched area encompassing much of the KVU area, and with a 30% chance of hail coming from a given storm at any given point. And with that hatched area, that is the significant parameter, and I'm going to put the boxes back up here. That significant parameter means 2-inch diameter hail or larger is possible for those just joining us. 2 inches in diameter, that's getting close to golf ball size, but then we could get to maybe baseball size, pickleball size. We could even get to hen egg size. There were even radar estimates in Burnett County yesterday near Lake Buchanan, out by Lake Buchanan, that got up to grapefruit sized hail. That is very, very large hail, and that could really do some damage to your vehicle. So it is important that you have your cars protected and in garages or under your carport. If you do not have a garage, if you do not have a carport, you want to make sure that your car is covered properly. Get a large blanket like a comforter or a mattress or something like that. Like a comforter or something like that. Put that over some large areas of cardboard or plywood and have all of that taped together and make sure that it is secure so that all of your windows can be protected from the very large hail that we are forecasting in some spots later on this afternoon. So we're looking at widespread impacts for today, and we could have very large hail, and it does not matter where you are in the KV viewing area. It's the same probability for everyone. So no matter what town you put down in the chat, it's going to be pretty much the same thing for everyone in the KVU area. So I really want you to stay weather aware this afternoon. And our chief meteorologist, Hunter Williams, he will be in here later on this afternoon and evening tracking the storms as they pop up. Now let's see. Brand new, same thing. Let's see. Brand new, that's a pretty clever name, by the way. Same thing for Colleen Harker Heights. And by the way, I know some of y'all are in my old viewing area. I want to say hi to everyone who watches our sister station 6 News. Hopefully they are doing well. I know they're going to be on top of this just as we are here in Austin. So I do want to say hi to them. Bell County, though, yes, you're in the same boat as the rest of us here in the KVU area. Trey McElwain, very good point, Trey. Always better to be safe than sorry. You are absolutely right about that. Thank you. Camille Brinkmeyer asking about Taylor. Now, I can understand people in Taylor asking about it because we did have that tennis ball size hail report near Taylor High School the other day. And so it looks like Taylor's in that same boat where we could have some more of that large hail. So again, I understand that, but just remember, it's the same for everyone in the KVU viewing area, not just Taylor, not just Burnett, not just Llano, not just Fredericksburg, not just Giddings, not just Elgin, not just LaGrange, not just Schulenburg, everybody, not just South Lamar, not just Cedar Park, not just Pflugerville, not just Taylor, not just Gerald. Everybody is in the same boat when it comes to this hail threat, when it comes to this wind threat, and the wind threat's elevated as well. It doesn't have a hatched area, but the wind threat is elevated as well. So based on the orientation of the storms, we could be looking at a very large hail producer or a very strong damaging wind threat. So it's going to come down to how these storms form later on this afternoon. We do have a frontal system coming in, so that could be our saving grace as far as some of the largest hail producers. But if we get any discrete cells that fire up, that's where we would have that very large hail that would be produced. And so all of South Central Texas, Eddie, exactly. Belton, Rhonda, same thing. Hayes County, same thing. Brian Osorio saying hi. Heidi Beck. Melanie Panatex. Yes, I know that is pretty rare for hail size. That's grapefruit size hail. But at the same time, it's nothing to be scared of, okay? We're not here to scare you. We're just here to keep you prepared and to keep you safe. And Brian Osorio watching from Cedar Creek. And I just want to say thank y'all so much. I actually have an editorial meeting here in the next few minutes. I'm going to go over this with the rest of the news team, and I'm going to be back here on KVU News Midday starting at 11 a.m., not just on air on KVU, but also on KVU.com, right here on KVU.com, and right here on the KVU app or KVU Plus as well. If you have KVU Plus downloaded, great. If not, it is free, absolutely free on your Fire Stick, Apple TV, or Roku. So please, 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 please download KVU Plus if you have not already. You're going to have up-to-the-minute forecasts on this, and we will have a radar stream up later this afternoon. And Hunter Williams, our chief meteorologist, he's going to come in and he's going to give up-to-the-minute updates on these strong storms that are popping up here in Central Texas. So I'm meteorologist Jordan Aaronsberg. I will see y'all at 11 a.m. with all the latest on this.